The year is 1994, March 26th, 26 minutes after the hour. Welcome to the Darryl Edition 1, the first of its kind.
And the first question is, think back to a time when you had a fairly close relationship or spent a lot of time with somebody that you didn't have much choice in the matter. I guess if you took all your principles and just the things you stood for into account, and yet you still had to deal with them. Was there any specific approach that worked best for you?
Okay, you're saying when I was in a relationship?
Yeah, or like living with somebody, or just somebody that was in your life a lot.
Right.
That you guys just didn't see eye to eye.
Oh, well, I see what you mean.
You know?
Right.
But you still had to sort of get along.
And I still had to let my principles stand, because I mean that's who I am, by my soul.
Yeah.
So and how did I do that?
Yeah. Like what worked the best? Was there like a specific incident where you got that person to actually see your side of it, maybe to agree with you, or and how did that come about? Like, did you approach it from a position of anger, or position of love, or intimidation?
Okay, I ran into two things. Now, what happened is I had this girlfriend who smoked. I myself don't smoke. And she also left ashes. If she didn't have the ashtray, she would leave ashes on my things in my room. And that upset me totally.
Like on a book or something?
On my computer. So, that went against my principles in two ways. First of all, she smoked. I don't support smoking. Don't wish to be around her when she smokes. But I realized it was an addiction for her. And secondly, it went against my principle of respect for other people's property, because, I mean, it takes almost no effort to get an ashtray. So, the best thing I did was to invite her for supper on my account, and I would serve the supper, and then I mentioned it in a 5-minute brief discussion with her. And then I just simply stood there and threw a test of time to see how well that 5 minutes worked. How far that discussion took her mentality to take action on that part. Right?
And what was the result?
Well, I mean, ultimately the result came down to, it just didn't work out. I mean, my principles were too strong and I couldn't give them up for a simple relationship. She was I think in my relationship, a girl should have very much the same principles as I do, as well as other things in common. So, I mean, the fact that we both thought each other was cute just wasn't a strong enough glue to hold the relationship together.
Right.
So, we simply broke up, and I said, well, we're just not the right people for each other, and that was that.
And who decided to break up?
I had started making a subconscious choice of it.
Okay.
I sort of decided a few days before, but I had never mentioned it.
Right.
And she sort of noticed this, and
Okay.
action was taken on that day.
Mm-hmm.
And on that day I took action. I began to tally up the number of days that I have been single.
So that was like one instance, right?
That's right.
You mentioned another instance earlier.
How do you mean?
When I asked the question, you said, well, there's two incidents like this.
Well, yeah, I meant by two incidences is the one where she was smoking and the one where she was putting her ashes on my things.
Oh. So she didn't stop with either one of those things.
No. But I took the same action towards both of those things.
Have you ever had it where someone close in your life, not necessarily a girlfriend, where you got them to change their mind about something, or something very curious, or stop something?
Well, I have found that some of the friends I've hung around with, associated with, have instilled the idea of health and fitness to them, and I've noticed they've exercised and took certain measures to keep a certain level of health.
For example.
Corey and Andre, perfect example.
Okay.
And I'm sure they had their own particular motivations for it, but I don't think they're quite the same as what mine were, but I definitely think my influence played some part. And not to mention, Craig gets my mother's boyfriend. Well, it's sort of going in and out with this. He bought rollerblades for himself and his kids are pretty much layarounds. So I mean, already an idea of fitness has been instilled in that. And so I think I was responsible for that too.
Oh yeah. So I heard you talk about that you want to set a record or something, right? Is that because of the type of person you want to become? The type of person that you have to change to be able to do that? Or do you want to be famous? Or something else?
Well, that's a very good question. I want to set a world's record. I want to be the best in the world at something. And I want to do that because a big part has to do with confidence and self-esteem.
Oh, okay.
I ultimately believe the one who works the hardest will get the records. Unless they're genetically laid back so far that they don't have that much of a chance. But it's mostly for confidence and self-esteem to know that I have pushed myself as far as I could. And for me, I want to do it partly so I can feel good about myself. And I always notice that when I feel good about myself, it is a much better feeling than if I'm at the Dairy Queen having a banana float or an ice cream cone. I mean, to tell you the truth, I would have loved I mean, I love winning the stair climbing competition much more than I would getting laid by some girl. Because getting laid is like, it's more like a circumstantial thing. It can just happen to you. But like winning the stair climbing thing is something you have to work for.
Right.
And it's like your efforts got you something.
Like luck isn't involved.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
And see, I want to become purely physically fit because I want to live for a long time, and I want to spread an idea of health and fitness to a lot of people out there in this world. And if I aim for a record, it will bring up my physical maturity up enough to be a motivator. To say that, yes, Darryl Dobish has broken a new world record.
So if you become a world record holder, and for some reason, like not too many people really care, that's still okay?
Absolutely. You see, there's 5 billion people. Well, probably 6 billion now. And by the year 2000, they say 6.5 billion. And that's a lot of competition in anything you select to go for a record in.
Yeah.
So to say that you hold one world record says that you have a definite, you have that certain substance that it takes to work hard to get something that you want. I mean, you've got it to the highest peak because you already have a world record.
Unless, of course, you do it in something so esoteric that no one else is competing against you.
Good point.
Like,
but
I mean, there's some guy in there, and he went world record because he ate a bicycle or something. You know, I mean, if you went to eat 2 bicycles, you'd probably beat him. Although I think they said they're not accepting any more records on that because, like, it's harmful to the person or something.
well, it is. But the records I'm going for, there is a lot of competition in them.
Right.
I'll either be going for records in push-ups or a record in Samson's chair, which I'm thinking about. Or else a record in stair climbing, which I'm really seriously considering.
Right, something with physical fitness and
Right.
exertion.
I want to do something a bit different. I feel like health and fitness has almost become so generic that whenever anyone gets the idea of like, well, maybe I'll start exercising, it's like all of a sudden everyone starts to run.
Okay.
And it feels like the people are almost ignorant or just naive when it comes to the world of health and fitness, that they think the only way to get fit is to run. Because they see everyone else do it, you know? And they hear it's okay to jog. But I don't see very... Like I see it all happening in trends. Or else the guys going to weightlifting because they just want to get bigger, right? I don't see very many people doing push-ups or sit-ups or chin-ups or burpees or leg raises or Samson's chair. Like, if I go to a gym, I don't see anyone doing Samson's chair. You know, I see them like lifting up barbells or something. And a lot of people, like what happened to the idea of skipping? I mean, it is so hard to get a decent skipping rope in this town. Seriously, you go to a fitness store and they do not have a skipping rope. And I went to one fitness store and this guy told me he got his skipping rope from Zellers.
That was today.
No, that was the other day. And that took me by shock.
Which fitness store?
The one that we passed by on White.
Idaho Fitness?
No, the bicycle shop.
Oh, okay. Two-wheel resort.
Right. But it's definitely something to be proud of. And it gives you the confidence that you know that if you want a dream, you can make a dream come true.
Right.
And you're at a physical peak. That you can use your physical body to make yourself money. Which is one thing that I enjoy doing, is making money by using my own body, like I did in the stair climbing competition.
And then you don't mean you're showing snow or packing bricks.
Right, exactly.
Right. could always be a male hooker too, though. That would be using your physical body to make money.
Well, I don't like the idea so much.
No,
No, I don't like girls just looking at me just because, like, I look beautiful to them or something.
Oh.
No, I really like them to like me for who I am.
So if a girl liked you for who you were and still thought you were gorgeous, that'd be okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So is that your greatest pleasure, your biggest dream, is to set a world record?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So what's your greatest or worst fear?
Dying before I can set a world's record.
Okay.
Or falling short of setting a world's record.
So what's your second biggest goal in life?
Become an excellent dancer.
And what will you do with that skill?
I will dance anywhere, anytime. And I will take down any dance floor. And I will show them how much fun it can be just to get down and get physical. Because I mean, hey, dancing's a motivator.
Do we have a short intermission?
Yes, we can call for an intermission.
We can put it on spot. And we're on?
We are on part 2.
Do we need background music?
No.
Okay. So, let's say down the road in your life you meet another girl and you go with her for a while. You're like a couple type thing.
Right. Okay.
What if she wants to do like the horizontal mambo? And how would you handle that? What would your reaction be? How would you prepare?
I would just explain to her that not until we get to know each other really well before such a thing could occur. I'd explain to her just my position on it, that I would rather that, like, I'd be in love with a girl than to just pursue it. Not rather, but would be. Want to.
Okay. Now, once you're in love with her,
Right.
and you know each other really, really well,
Right.
what's the next stage?
Well, I'm as far as this position right now. If I can find a doctor that will fix me, I am all for it.
Okay.
Right. So, if I'm fixed at the time, and she's been checked at the STD clinic, I don't see a problem.
And what's your main reason for wanting to like be in love with her before you do?
Because I think two people in a relationship deserve something that they can share between themselves. And if she has sex with me but has sex with all the other guys, there's nothing personal between me and her, because her closest friends could talk about personal stuff that me and her would talk about. So it wouldn't really be like I have something special that other people like don't have. like a relationship wouldn't be the ideology behind it. Wouldn't show it as like a relationship between me and her. It would just be just something she's doing because everyone else can share something from her. And so I think that's what really separates relationships and companions and friendships and acquaintances.
So even if you had a vasectomy, you're
Right.
ready to having it just sex for sex sake.
No, but being a guy, I'm very prone to my hormones, and sometimes in my own mind I think the idea of just getting laid is just a wonderful thing. But a guy's got to think in this world, and if you get her pregnant, you're going down, not up. And so that is always what I think about. And STDs are spreading like mad because people are just plain horny and they're finding the first one to go with and bang. Just boom. Making happies.
So, if you had a vasectomy though, you wouldn't have to worry about getting her pregnant, right?
Absolutely not.
Because you said even if you loved her, you'd want a vasectomy.
Right.
So if you weren't in love yet or anything, but you did have a vasectomy, there's a chance you might do the deed.
No.
Oh.
No.
So you want sex to be an expression of love?
Yes. See, I want it to be that we have a relationship so tightly intertwined that there's something that she won't give anyone else, but she'll give it to me because we have worked hard enough together to maintain a good relationship, and so we can enjoy something that both of us can enjoy.
What if you don't love her yet, but she says to you like she doesn't want to do it with anybody else, only with you?
Now I gotta think on this one. Well,
His eyes go up and to the right.
I must say I would still have to turn her down.
You'd wait till you felt the same way.
Because the woman that I love and the woman who loves me will fully appreciate it that I have waited for her to share the intimacy and the let's get busy part. Booming.
What's the closest you ever came to, like, being in a position where you'd get a girlfriend?
I was naked with a girl and on top of her.
And you said, recently you just said, and if you get her pregnant, you're going down.
Well, yes, absolutely.
Can you elaborate a bit on what you mean by going down?
Well, I've always understood just from experience, just from observation of hearing girls talk that because of their biological clocks, as we call it, in their motherhood and like how females seem to have the instinct to become just a natural mother, they seem to have this high moral fiber when it comes to such things as abortion and other things concerning babies, right? I heard that it's easy for girls to say, well, I can give them up for adoption if I get pregnant, but I've heard many a times they change their minds and they actually go and keep the kid. You must take this into account every time you see a girl. Every time. Now, I mean, if she changes her mind, doesn't mean she was lying to you. It just means that that's the way she is. You know, that she didn't expect she would feel that way. So, you have to assume, to take full responsibility, you have to assume that if she gets pregnant, yes, she will keep that kid. And if she keeps that kid, somebody's going to be paying for it. Now, I'm not saying just the guy's going to pay for it. I'm saying it's going to be like an equal thing. But I'm saying if she is left paying for it, and you're half of the making up the kid, then there's going to be trouble coming your way if you're neglecting the responsibility towards the kid because you just want to get her pregnant.
You mean like financial responsibility?
Financial responsibility, I think, is the most. I think society looks at financial responsibility as the most important on the list when it comes to this kind of thing.
Or maybe just the most enforceable?
Well, the most important, but I think also the most important because everyone wants to ensure that this thing is fed and it's in the house and it's going to live decently. But I think then the second most important thing comes is helping take care of it.
Okay. And that's, you see that it's going down because of the time factor and.
Well, because the time factor is a lifelong commitment.
Yeah.
I mean, 18 years of a life, boom. I mean, if you have serious dreams, you have to dedicate your life to those dreams. And if she has a kid, you have to dedicate your life to the kid, make sure he comes out alright, so you don't spend the rest of your life feeling guilty and going to hell. I mean, it's a serious thing. Should be considered very seriously.
Going to hell?
I'm not sure if there's a heaven or a hell, or if there's a God or a devil.
It's an expression.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if I neglected a kid, I would feel like I'm in a hell.
Okay.
My own personal hell,
Right.
I would call it, yeah.
So, let's say worst case scenario.
Right.
You got a girl pregnant.
Oh, shit.
What are your options?
Flee the country.
Where would you go?
Another country. I myself would flee the country and get a very good job, and once I stabilize myself,
Which country would you go to?
Mexico probably, or United States,
They won't let you work there. 'Cause you're
or
not,
Greenland, or Iceland,
you're not a citizen there.
or another province.
Okay, another province is going to be more realistic.
Now, once I would stabilize myself and become financially secure, then I would secretly send money to the girl to help support her baby financially.
So why do you have to flee to do that?
Because my time is so important that I have to dedicate my time to my dreams. And so I would spend the time, my own personal time, to my dreams. But I would be sending money to her to help take care of the kid.
What if your girlfriend said, that's okay, you don't have to spend any time with the kid?
I'm not complaining.
Would you flee?
Boom, out of there.
Why?
I don't like the situation at all. Not at all.
So you're going to run away from it and that doesn't change it?
Well,
Out of sight, out of mind?
basically, yeah.
You think it would be possible that down the road you would want to see what this person looks like
No,
and talk to them?
no. I don't care. If there's someone that shares the same genetics as I do, I really don't care. I see people beyond their own genetic makeup of what they are. Someone that shares my genes could turn out any goddamn way.
Well, I agree to some extent, but I also think that there's a connection on a soul level there, you know?
I don't. I mean, kids made up of...
And you said that, like, not only do I look like my dad, I behave like him in a lot of ways.
I said that?
Yeah.
Like what?
The way I stand, and some of my mannerisms. and I think that also like goes to like.
What do you mean? Was I talking about Alan Dobish or?
No, you're talking about me and my dad.
Well, yeah, you and your dad. Well, I mean, that can be a behavioral thing too, right?
Yeah, I still think there's a connection.
I don't believe that I don't believe part of my soul is being duplicated or taken out if I were to be part of the kid making process.
Okay.
But because no matter what, I will always be me.
So you would flee and run away from all your friends, including me. Even though, of course, if your girlfriend was pregnant, you'd have 3 options.
I'm never a person of closed opportunity. And I always have a contingency plan. And I would always find a way to keep in touch with my friends.
Well, what 3 options do you have if she gets pregnant?
What options do I have if she gets pregnant? Talk to her about abortion, talk to her about adoption.
And what would you reckon? What would you want if it was your choice?
My choice? Well, it's hardly ever the guy's choice, but if it was my choice,
If she asked you, yeah.
I'd say adoption.
Yeah?
Because those parents have been waiting 10 years for a kid. So give it to them. Well, we don't want it.
The only reason they're waiting 10 years is because they're not like dedicated enough to like adopt a kid from the third world. Like in countries where people are living in the sand and starving to death.
However, they are more dedicated than we are. Because I tell you, I have no dedication or motivation to raise a kid at all. The fact that I would send financial proceeds to help them survive is a miracle in itself.
So then you've got these adoptive parents, right? And you think they'll do a better job and can pass on more wisdom than the lessons and the insights you've had out of life?
Well, yeah, because I wouldn't put my time into the kid.
Okay. When you would choose these parents, these people fairly wisely?
Yes.
You would talk to them?
Yes. You see, it is because, how can I put it in the best of ways? Because of these types of problems that come with it, that is why I work very hard to ensure that no girls get pregnant in my path.
Right.
And that's why I have very strict self-laws to govern my own actions towards these things.
Right.
Almost like a pact I made with myself to ensure that things like this will not happen. There are only 2 ways to ensure 100% abstinence. And that is number 1, getting fixed. And as number 2, if you don't stick your penis in her, you don't have a problem.
No, you can have oral sex.
Yeah, but then that would lead to an STD, possibly.
Well,
But it wouldn't lead to pregnancy.
but in that scenario, you would take adoption over abortion. And why is that? What are your feelings if she had an abortion? How would you feel if the child went up for adoption?
Well, see, I realize there's too many people in the world, right? Which is the reason why I'm not going to be a parent. So I'm doing my part for the world's population.
Right.
The world can thank me later. So anyways, I choose adoption over abortion because if there's a God, he might get real pissed off at me and send me to hell. Now, I don't know if there is a God or isn't a God, so I sort of see it as a gamble. See, I look at it from this perspective, right? If I was in danger, I wouldn't depend on something that I had uncertainty based
Right.
on. So I wouldn't sit there and pray to God, please save me,
Right.
if I don't even know if he's there. Instead, I'll take my time to think of how to get out of that situation.
He could be madder at you, though, for adding to the world's population. And what if you'd gone... what if you had heard from... I hear what you're saying. You're saying you're picking the thing that you feel is more likely or more sure, the way God would feel. You're trying to, if you're going to make an error, you're going to make it on the safe side.
That is right. Take every possible factor into accountability. And you will reach the highest possible level of success with the least amount of errors. If the girl says she never gets pregnant, well, don't believe her. I mean, for God's sakes, it may be true that the last 90 times that she got laid was without a condom and all the guys were fertile, and she never got pregnant. Maybe it's just a miracle. You have to consider, maybe it was just a miracle. Maybe God just killed off the sperm with his magical powers. Except that one time when you screw her, she's going to get pregnant. You have to take every absolute factor into account. So you just have to say, I'm not going to have sex. Too many people take a chance on things that they don't know. Like they take too many gambles. You got to work with the facts. And one fact is, man and woman put together can equal 3. And that's not too good. Not for me.
And if she said to you, well, I know you prefer adoption, Darryl, but I can't do that, so I'll have an abortion. But I want it to be our decision, not just mine.
I would support her.
And you wouldn't feel guilty?
No, because, I mean, at 3 months, when they abort the baby, I mean, it's not really, it's not a human. What it is, it's like a mucus. It's like a worm, you know? It's a very simple organism. I mean, I doubt it's even aware of its environment or even responding to it somewhat. I don't see it. I see it like killing a mouse or a rat or a bug or a.
And what?
I don't see it as killing a person.
And what would you do then if she said, "No, I thought about it. I'm going to keep the baby"? That's when you'd flee.
Well, yes.
Okay.
I have to keep my dreams alive at all costs.
And you're sure you couldn't keep your dreams alive and be a father?
No. But that is why I'm damn careful not to get myself into these situations. Which only supports my extremity of my own laws that govern my actions.
Okay. Another scenario.
Boom.
You've got a friend, and you like him. He sort of likes you, and
It's not like a gay thing going on, right?
no.
All right.
I could ask about that, but
We're booming. Okay, we're moving. I like this.
He comes to you and he wants to borrow a bit of money, and you sort of know that one of the main reasons he's not doing that well in life is that he's got somewhat of a drug or an alcohol problem or a bit of both. And you know if you loan him this money, some of that money will be spent on drugs. But you're also pretty sure that he will pay it back as soon as he gets his check because he's just that type of guy. So part of you says, like, well, I don't really want to support his habit. Part of you says, what he really needs now is a friend and someone like, know, that he trusts a bit and that trusts him, and then maybe I could help him to change later. Where would you take your stand, and what pursuit would you take on that?
I take my stand right here. He gets no money from me. Bang, that's it. No matter how much he begs, he gets no money at all. I don't support his drug or alcohol thing to any extreme or any way. If he's purely addicted, I just have to go out there and buy some gasoline for 50 cents and drink it. I'm sorry. That's just the way I am.
So even if it's possible that, like, sort of getting on his good side and befriending him a bit, but owing him this money, would help him more in the long run because you'll have more influence. You just got your principles and you won't budge.
My influence are brought to him by how successful I am. Now, he will truly realize, like they all will, that they're not successful. And right at that point, it's right down to a choice. Do I ask someone for help? And if I don't ask, he don't get it.
Okay.
That's my belief anyway.
Well, I mean, I know certain people that have certain addictions, right? Some of them alcohol, some of them drugs, some of them is just smoking.
Right.
Sometimes I think if I'm critical and non-supportive, that would help. And sometimes I think just accepting them the way they are and trying to be very non-judgmental and just loving, but that's the answer. What do you think?
I never compromise one for the other. My mother, I like her for who she is. I don't support her smoking in any way. To the point where I will not go to the store, I will not buy cigarettes for her, I will not be in the presence of her smoking. And when she mentions the word cigarette, out of there. Just like that.
If you went to Holland on holidays and you went to the beach there, and
right?
Like everybody is pretty well running around nude there. Would you walk around nude, or would you wear your swimming trunks?
If I felt I was at a physical peak, where I can consider myself athletic, I'd go nude. At this point, however, I don't consider myself athletic as of yet. But my goal in physical is to become athletic.
So you would like wear a pair of shorts?
Yes.
But when you say athletic, isn't that mostly going to like build up your legs and your upper body? Not necessarily your genitals?
It's a good question, it is. But
I haven't worked out my dick enough yet for to display it on the beach. We're going to pump it up.
It's slightly a little bit different though. Because your shorts take on its own form when it's on the body. And when you take your shorts off, your body shows its complete form. All the muscles loosen up because there's no tension being put onto them.
I don't buy that.
That is my reason.
Well, do you see yourself becoming less prude as your life progresses?
Less prude. Like, what do you mean by prude?
Prude is like, it comes from the word prudence, which is carefulness and caution, but prude in most common sense it's used as like you're self-conscious about being seen naked and you don't like tend to hide yourself from other people?
No. I think I'll always be this way.
You're prude for life, right?
Absolutely.
And why?
I want to look beautiful. I want to have a nice looking body. And I'm going to work up to it. A nice looking body will simply be my reward for going for things like the world's record.
Maybe your body's really good already.
I want it to be better. I want it to be noticeable. You know. I won't be big like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I'll have good definition. Which can look just as much as pleasant.
Okay.
Like Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you're going to live in a motorhome.
Yeah. I'm not totally sure on that though. I mean, there's so much of the future we don't know about. We don't expect what's to come,
Well,
so.
it's ultimately what you decide, right?
Well, yeah.
Destiny.
I think it's more to do with what you decide in the circumstance that you have been put in. Certain things you cannot change. I mean, if you're born in Africa, you're born in Africa.
You don't have to stay there, though.
Well, no. So you travel to America. But if you're already born in America, you have a head start because you don't have to travel to where you want to get to.
But the race was not always won by the person with the head start.
Well, true enough.
Like, I think it's pretty well how your life's going to go. It depends on how you decide.
Well, I agree.
I mean,
But I wonder if such ideologies are developed in such a democratic Western America that we live in. I wonder, like, if you're in a communist situation where you're a people under communist rule, like, do people have such hopes as, like, you can be whatever you want to be, even though the government gives them things to do for their own dollar?
I think a few people.
I mean, ultimately, here we obviously have the freedom to do what we want to do. And we also have the freedom to fail, which is part of what we have to take up for the freedom to succeed.
Right.
In communists, everyone survives in the most shittiest of way, of course, but it's the way it is.
Well, I think there's always some people, though, that dream.
Well, yeah, why not?
And those are the people that help things to change, right?
If people didn't dream, communism wouldn't have crumbled down in the Soviet Union.
That's right.
Boom.
Look at Lech Walesa, right? Or Walesa.
Right.
He was a union leader on in the boatyard in Gdańsk, Poland. And he finally said, like, hey, we're not going to take it anymore. We want democracy. And he was threatened that he was going to be killed or put in jail. And he still led the people.
No one can ever self-contain the human soul.
That's right.
In numbers so large, motivations only become powers that are unstoppable.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
That's it, right? That was really pretty good.
Ask me another, I'm ready.
Another.
Yes.
I've run out of ideas.
Wow.
You can always cut it and rewind it to right after the Amen, Hallelujah. That's a good ending.
No matter what my circumstance, no matter what happens, I'll always promise myself one thing. I should say that in my lifetime, I've had large number of negativities, but I realize they're not to the extreme that others have suffered. And And they're to different extremes that other people couldn't understand. And I only pray to God, and I thank God for the opportunity to go for my dreams. And if I reach my dreams, I thank Him again. Because it is very important to go for your dreams. Right, Mark?
Definitely. Probably the most important thing there is, period.
The best thing you can do is to go for your dreams and take your business for the goodness of humanity. If you can go for your dreams and benefit mankind, you're benefiting the universe and yourself.
A life without dreams is not a life at all.
A life without dreams is not a life at all. Quote Mark, the man you cannot see. And so in closing, I must say that how should I say this? Just a bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. Killer speeching. In closing, I must say that no matter what my circumstance, there's only one direction I'm going, and that is up. And I'm going in no other direction. I might go diagonally, I might go in loops, but I am going up, and I'm not going down. And as long as I am alive, to nowhere, to know that I exist, I am going up. And that is the only direction.